guys, Don Juancho and Brobot coming to you to cast this special ZvZ. In the bottom right hand corner we have Garrus, the red Zerg. In the bottom left we have JSprat. What do you think about this matchup?
ZvZ, I'm not, don't know a whole lot about it, but it seems just kind of like a crazy matchup to me. It seems like I don't know, you could catch someone off guard with banelings and the game's over, or someone could not make enough roaches and the game's over. That's about all I really know about this matchup.
Yep.
I don't know. I never know when to expand. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very odd matchup. Probably not as crazy as PvP or anything like that. There are a lot of standard plays. As far as expanding, yeah, that really depends. A lot of people will go a 15 hatch and then a 15 pool behind that, but if someone goes to early pool, you can put on a lot of pressure, a lot of damage. Standard seems to be 14 pool, 14 gas, and then to either take an expansion or put on pressure with either speedlings, usually speedlings. Banelings are more defensive in the very beginning, but obviously can put on a lot of pressure with banelings.
Back when I was messing around with Zerg, I found this build. They call it Destiny's ZvZ 4-gate or something like that, and he said it's kind of like a 4-gate because it's going to optimally get as much speedlings and roaches out as you can at a certain point. It's nothing like a 4-gate except that it's sort of cheesy. It's just like as much units in a burst as you can with not a lot of follow-up. Have you heard of that, or do you know about that?
Yeah, I heard about that recently. I think, yeah, it's a little bit older of a build. I don't think it's that common anymore. Wasn't it something... I thought that was more of like a PV or ZVP build where you try to put on pressure with roaches and lings, right?
No, ZvZ.
No, ZvZ. Yeah, I'm sure you could use it for ZvZ also. So it looks like we had pretty similar openings. I think JSprat went for a 14 pool versus the 15 pool of Garrus. But Garrus didn't take gas and opted for the fast expansion. So we're going to see. Is JSprat going to put on pressure? Or it looks like maybe he'll just take his expansion and be behind a little bit in the economy. Yep. So it is interesting to know right here, Garrus should really move this Overlord because he's going to get picked off. And yeah, it looks like he'll probably move it in time. So right now it is really tricky because, well, a good thing to do is have an Overlord back in the corner over here, over the minerals, on each side, or for the other side for whoever you're against, and that way you can see if they transfer the workers or not. So that's very key because if they transfer workers, obviously they can't have a whole bunch of lings come out, and if you don't see any workers, then they're probably just making a whole bunch of lings. And it looks like, well, it looks like JSprat might be doing that. He does look to be putting on some pressure. And he's about halfway done with metabolic boost. And yeah, it looks like he might get some drone kills in here.
When you say drone kills, do you think he's going to run into the main, or is he going to wait for some to get transferred down?
Are you seeing this? Yeah, he's killing it right now. I think we might have a little bit of lag here, but yeah, it looks like JSprat, he's taken out, he's putting on a lot of pressure right now. Just killed a bunch of drones, and that's just so effective. I think he only had like 6 Zerglings, and he just took out so much.
Yeah, that looks rough.
Wow. And oh man, so he is pretty far behind, but he did get out his own ling, so he might be able to go and counter because he has 16 in his. It looks like his opponent is just droning up. And
yeah, see what I mean about crazy? Like it can just go forth so much.
Yeah, that was kind of bad reaction by Garrus. He really should have. He should have had some queens out to block the ramp, and you got to run your drones. You can't just give out free drone kills like that.
How much queens do you usually get at this point? About 6?
Yeah, about 6.
8?
It depends. You can get as little as 2, and I've actually seen a pretty crazy build lately where you just keep constant queen protection, and then once you get to about 8 queen, actually more than that, you get to like 12 queens and a bunch of roaches, and you bring everything over and kill them. But it doesn't look like anyone's doing that crazy strategy.
And that's a ZvZ build?
Yeah, that's a ZvZ build, and So the thing about the queens is you want them to block your ramp so they can't just run into your main. I feel like that's a big thing. You can either do that or you can just have banelings, have a couple of banelings spread out along your ramp. So it looks like there's a little attack by Sprat. I'm not quite sure what he's thinking here. He has a big lead, so he just wants to macro up right now. And in ZvZ, well, first off, he took a huge lead. He did such economic damage that he really made up for taking a somewhat or a later expansion than his opponent. And I think he's doing the right thing. He should drone up a little bit harder though, because they're actually kind of even in drones right now. And considering how many he killed, he should be ahead.
Do you like this little wall off action Sprout's doing with Evo Chambers?
Yep, I really like the wall off. He could even throw down a Roach Warren right up top here, and then put a queen in the middle, and then you're just completely sealed off. A little bit over the top with 3 spine crawlers, but nothing too bad.
What league are these guys in, by the way?
I think it's silver. So yeah, I should mention that I believe his name is TRDS. Sent me this replay on Reddit just to do a little analysis. A little surprised he didn't get some banelings too. If he knows that his opponent has all these zerglings, he might as well get a couple of banelings just to kill him, since he already has the nest. But I do.
So what's the best way to scout your opponent in ZvZ?
ZvZ, you can really just have overlords around the entire map. There's no reason that you shouldn't have to, unless you scout a spire. Then if you scout a spire, you want to run all your overlords back.
So how do you scout as far as checking out what's in his base, though?
Okay, so in his base, yeah, it's good just to, you can run in lings every now and then. I like to have an overlord either right outside so I can see what he has when he pokes out. And the next thing is, as soon as you get your lair, you want to get out a oversteer. And then the main thing that you're scouting for is he going roach or is he going spire? And those are the 2 most common things. You're either going to get roach or spire, and the roach, well, you could also get ling infester, which that seems like it's a little bit more of a popular play right now. But you basically are just scouting for air, because air really changes a lot.
Now, Garrus has not connected his creep yet. Do you think that's an important thing to do or not a very big deal? Because I've heard some pro players talk about how important it is and you have to have it, but maybe I'm just thinking of ZVP. And then I've seen a lot of pro players, though, like Koreans, who just don't even bother to do it.
Between bases, yeah, I've seen that a lot too. I'm really surprised. Good overlord scout, or good scout here, by the way, by JSprat.
Yeah, it looks like how you should do it.
Yep. He saw a lot. He saw the Evo chambers. He saw the roaches. So there's no question of airplay. But back to the creep. So that's a kind of a big thing in ZvZ, or it's an interesting thing, because you don't necessarily need to get the creep spread between outside of bases, because it just depends if you're going to have a defensive army or an offensive army. Obviously, if it's offensive, then you want it spread everywhere so you can have quicker reinforcements. But if you're playing more defensively, or if you're getting air, then obviously you don't want to spread it. But yeah, you do want it spread in between the bases. I think that's pretty key. So it looks like JSprat is taking his 3rd, and so the main thing that I see right now is that JSprat's only on 42 drones, where Garrus is on 52. He's heavily saturated, so he has a much better income, and he's about the same. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, he has way more roaches. A bunch of roaches just popped, and it looks like he's gonna go kill. JSprat. So we're going to see how this works out. Oh.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's not going to be able to kill the main army, but maybe he can mess with that 3rd if he knows it exists.
Nope, he's kind of backing off right now. And I think it's just going to be too much. 30 roaches versus 18. Really, JSprat should pull back. Just pull back to your natural. Let the spine crawlers come in. Oh no, you're running in. You don't want to run in when you're outgunned. That's a big thing. He does have the upgrade advantage, and that's actually working out for him really well here. But actually, just look at the minerals. So that's pretty much the key deciding factor right here.
His macro's off.
So hit the injects. That's a huge thing in ZvZ. I mean, just as Zerg in general, hit your injects. If all those minerals were roaches, he'd be able to hold this no problem. Yeah, yeah, and it looks like Garrus is just going to overwhelm him with roaches. It's the thing in this matchup. Once someone gets a bunch of roaches, it's kind of tough to come back if you're down economically. And it was a good timing by Garrus because I guess he spotted. Well, let's see if he spotted it. Well, he didn't spot the third, but it was still good timing because if you're on 2 bases, you really want to attack before that third gets up, because it's the same thing. Like I said, if they have a better economy than you in a mirror matchup, sometimes it can be really difficult because there's no hard counter to roach.
So it looks like things are kind of winding down here. Some spine crawlers are trying to go up, but I don't think they'll get up in time. And even if they did, they probably couldn't stop all these roaches.
Really too little too late. And it looks like he just got his upgrades in.
So if he, instead of engaging earlier on, if he'd backed up and gotten a couple rounds of roaches out and thrown the spine crawlers down earlier, he probably would have been okay to hold.
JSprat, yeah. It was mainly, I think he just missed injects, and then he didn't have enough roaches. He was floating around 2,000 minerals and 500 gas, so that's easy. What is that? That's like 20 roaches right there, and he was down by like 15 roaches. So just do the math, and yeah, it looks like Garrus is going and having a little fun, killing some hatcheries here. But yeah, that's about it. Any other comments on this?
Not really. Looks like how a lot of ZvZs end up. Whoever gets some more roaches and gets in there will win it.
Pretty much. And yeah, just the whole macro thing, just to get back to it. But yeah, signing off. This is Don Juancho. All right, howdy.